Jason and the Argonauts is the 1963 stop motion masterpiece produced by none other than podcast debutante Ray Harryhausen. And I have a very special guest this week on the Golden Hour Film Podcast. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Golden Hour Film Podcast. My name is Harry Bailey, and no Shane I would say this week, but he was here on Friday. No Shane today. Today, I am joined by a very special guest, an award-winning film editor from the incredibly successful and famous and just amazing Cartoon Saloon. Love Cartoon Saloon. It is none other than Richie Cody. Richie, how are you?
Hi, how are things? Doing great, especially after that introduction. That's the most hype I think I've ever received. That's fantastic.
It's funny because I know that one person that we've had on before, who a lot of the audience actually watch, Nathan Hale, who has amazing content on YouTube. He is like a massive Cartoon Saloon fan. So I know he'll also now watch this video
Oh, cool.
and come back to this episode, which is great. Obviously, Wolfwalkers, My Father's Dragon, The Breadwinner, and particularly for me, this is very cool. You have a real page on Wikipedia.
I do.
You do.
I didn't know that. That's
You
wild.
exist on Wikipedia
I'll have to check
because
that out.
Richie did in fact edit an episode of one of Disney Plus's new Star Wars shows. So therefore, there's an official Richie Cody Wikipedia page.
That's crazy. I remember when Wolfwalkers came out. Of course, they list all of the key crew down the right hand side, and I was really excited to kind of see my name there finally. And they had linked to Richard Cody, retired Army 5-star general from the United States, which was took a bit out of my sales, but sure, look.
Yeah. So this week is Jason and the Argonauts. It is our final film of our Swords and Sandals arc. As I said in the intro, somehow this is the podcast debut of Ray Harryhausen. I don't know how we've never covered anything to do with him before. But this is arguably his best film, his favorite film of his that he did the effects on. He was quoted as saying in that documentary that Leonard Nimoy actually did a voiceover of. We will get into a spoiler-free review of the film very soon. But first, of course, if you are watching us on YouTube, please do subscribe to our channel. And if you are listening on Spotify or Apple or any of the gazillion other audio platforms, please leave a nice review. It's time for a spoiler-free review. Right, so Richie, with no spoilers, please,
Okay.
can you talk to us about Jason and the Argonauts, what this film sort of means to you, and how many times have you seen it?
Sure. I don't know how you can do a spoiler-free review of an ancient Greek tale, but
Yeah.
I guess ancient Greek tales are kind of epics in their way that they just kind of string events together. If you've seen the Odyssey recently, it goes from event to event to event, and something momentous happens each time. And I feel like Chris Nolan had to really he did a great job, but he had to really work hard in order to string a narrative and compelling characters together between those things. And I think Jason the Argonauts fits that very, very well. It goes from epic to epic to epic. And really, in kind of the 1960s when this was released, this was the epitome of a spectacle movie. Like, you did not see this kind of thing anywhere else except for in the cinema. The level of special effects in this film are, from a modern standpoint, really, really astounding. It's the kind of thing I think that Steven Spielberg was looking at when he was initially planning on doing Jurassic Park. He quite often talks about, not quite often, but he talks about how difficult it was to convince him to do computer generated effects because of movies like this. It follows Jason, the titular character, in his quest to get the Golden Fleece. He puts together a crew from the best of the best that he can find on a ship built by the best shipwright of the era called Argus, called the Argo, hence the name Jason the Argonauts, and they sail around the ancient world, have incredible adventures, meet some gods, and as typical of the era, they succeed in their goals. So yeah, that's, I guess, spoiler-free kind of synopsis of it. I love this film. It's one of my it is Ray Harryhausen's best movie. That's unarguable. The level of special effects in this are fantastic. Like, they are the film is built around special effects, and I think maybe watching it with more grown-up eyes than the first time I saw it when I was a kid, the story does not live up to the special effects in a way. I think they're very light on story, very heavy on special effects. And to tell the truth, I have a soft spot for one of Ray Harryhausen's other movies, Seventh Voyage of Sinbad, which I think is like an actual childhood favorite of mine growing up. But this one is a very close second, and as I said, like, unarguably a better movie in the way it's polished and just the incredible things that he managed to put on screen.
Yeah, it's funny. Real Mandela effect. He actually didn't direct this. I feel like a lot of people think that he directed this. It's directed by a guy by the name of Don Chaffee. Mm-hmm. So a lot of the footage was shot in Italy, and then a year later, Ray Harryhausen then kind of masked the special effects around it. There's a very famous scene with skeletons towards the end that famously took him 4.5 months to make, despite it only being 3 minutes on screen. As well, part of the reason that maybe took him that little bit longer is because of censorship. Good old censorship, a good friend of the podcast. Because initially he had like flesh and guts and stuff on these skeletons, and he was told to redo it and make them clean.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah,
that's shocking.
So there was certain days where he said he got I think 12 to 14 frames done, which is about half a second. Yeah, not ideal.
That tracks. No, like, watching that film now, because I watched it a couple of times recently to kind of get ready for this and just to refresh my memory, but the level of integration he does in that sequence and throughout the entire film is incredible. Like, he does things that seem so natural. Are we past the spoiler-free segment of this?
We can be. It's time for the spoiler-filled review. And then the curtain then descends on us and then comes back up, and now it's spoilers.
Okay, not that it's like major spoilers or anything, but like, there's some particular things that he does in the sequences that he makes look absolutely effortless, and it's just like stuff like prop handover.
Yes,
prop handover between live action actors and a skeleton. Where, or I think in another sequence he fights a Hydra.
Yes.
Stabbing the Hydra with a sword, lets go of the sword, and a sword is stuck in the Hydra.
Yeah. The Hydra also picks him up, which is just, that one is mind-boggling.
That's incredible. And he goes, like, he picks up a human character, and I think for that one, they actually cut away and they cut back, and the guy, the human character has been picked up.
Yeah.
And from then on, that human character is animated in claymation along with the Hydra. And it's, I mean, when you're looking for it, you can see it. And with like today's cynical eyes, it doesn't quite hold up to maybe what we'd expect from modern day blockbuster. But the sheer craft of that is just incredible. Like, that is not a skill that we have anymore today. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know if there's any studio in the world, maybe like some of the people who have worked on some of their incredible movies could pull off something like that with time, with planning. But to do something like that in 4 months, even though that sounds like a long time, that is mind-boggling.
Yeah, no, the effects really are amazing. Yeah. Talos, the giant bronze statue, was actually voted by Empire magazine as the second greatest movie monster in history.
Yeah.
Can you name what was number one?
Maybe Godzilla.
Close.
No,
King Kong.
King Kong. Okay, yeah, that
Yes,
is
yes, yes,
yeah, that
yes.
makes sense. But Talos,
Yeah,
that first shot where, and now this is heavy spoilers, the first shot where Talos turns his head and looks down at Hercules and that other
hmm
guy whose name escapes me is chilling.
yes,
It's absolutely chilling, and it's so well framed, it's so well paced, and the sound effects throughout that sequence actually make it
so good.
so grounded in
Kind
real
of
world.
rusting, yeah.
Yeah, the score is incredible there. Like, it's all of it comes together to just almost invisibly support this effects forward movie. It's really, really great.
Yeah, so plot wise,
Plot now.
realistically, you can skim through the plot pretty quickly, which is what I'll do. Jason's family are slain by a man who's told by the gods that he will become king that night, but he will also be defeated himself by one of the then king's children. So this guy goes, kills the king, kills the king's wife, kills the king's daughters, but doesn't kill Jason.
Uh-huh.
Doesn't manage to kill Jason. So then he clocks it. This is going to be Jason that is going to eventually kill him. So we fast forward, and he actually meets Jason, the one-sandaled man,
Yeah, meets Jason
and
almost immediately.
yeah, he tricks Jason into going to the end of the earth, because Jason doesn't realize that the man he is currently talking to is the man who he's
Yeah.
sworn vengeance on. So he gets tricked basically to go to the end of the world to find this mystical golden fleece, literal plot armor, if you will. Well, it gets used as it later, but obviously, he is sent to the end of the world, and that way, this king has basically bought himself a lot of time still as the king, because as Zeus foretold, it'll be Jason who kills him. So if Jason's on the other side of the world, he's not killing him anytime soon.
Yeah.
And then Jason and his band of merry men, which you've got Easter eggs upon Easter eggs. I don't remember his name, but there's kind of a montage where Jason's recruiting people to go on the Argo. There's a member of UK Parliament, like a sitting member of UK
No
Parliament,
way. I didn't realize
is one of the guys, as is the actual stunt coordinator as well. Now, they've done a masterful job of making most of these actors look so similar, other than Hercules, of course,
that. Yeah.
that I have no idea which one's the stunt coordinator and which one is
Yeah.
the... Basically, two guys are allowed beards. It's Jason and it's Hercules. No one else is allowed a beard. Everyone has to be clean shaven and have the same haircut. But yeah, Jason and his band of merry men are on a quest to the end of the world. Cue Ray Harryhausen and his ridiculous effects.
Yeah. And what I love about this movie, and like in any other movie, I'd probably hate it, but this movie does it so blatantly, is you kind of mentioned the setup of this film, which is, Jason his family were slaughtered. He's out for vengeance. It's been foretold by the gods. He literally meets the gods and talks to them. And when it gets to the end of the movie, we don't see him get his vengeance.
Nope.
He gets the golden fleece. He turns on his heels. He's heading back towards Greece. Cut to black. We never see him kill or confront that king. It's brilliant.
Yeah. It's interesting, because so I do know why they did it, but it's interesting that now I haven't seen the Seventh Voyage of Sinbad. It's on the list. Don't worry. But that obviously got multiple sequels. It's funny that this, which Columbia actually pushed as like an A film, because back then you had A, B, and C films. Columbia pushed this as an A film. This was in like the cinemas at the time.
Yeah, this is the feature.
It's funny that this isn't the Ray Harryhausen film with all the sequels, but the reason for that is because the love interest, who just kind of gets plonked in there at the end, to use a wrestling term, does kind of have a heel turn in the poem after Jason gets back on the ship. So Ray Harryhausen was kind of like, nah, we don't need any of that. We're just gonna cut to black on their big kiss. So that's why this doesn't have any like spiritual sequels or anything like that, because Ray Harryhausen goes, we're just gonna just cut it off where it's nice.
And you know what? It works.
Yeah.
It's wild though. It's wild if you look at it from a story structure point of view and kind of think about it in terms of narrative. Like that's how strong the effects in this movie are. It's like the rest of it does not matter.
Nope.
Like it is a series of keystone events strung together by almost montage and little else. Like the gods. So where to start? Like everything is told up front. The gods tell you exactly what is going to happen.
Yeah, they tell you the rules of the movie, literally.
Yeah, exactly. And it happens. Jason, the king sees Jason coming, sees him coming with a sandal, and doesn't kill him because he was told to kill him is to kill yourself. So he has to send him off to somewhere else. Jason himself tells the king, I am going to kill, unknowingly talking to the king, tells the king, I'm going to track down this king and I'm going to kill him. And the king's like, well, have you considered going somewhere else first?
Going like, somewhere, yeah, okay. Literally the furthest place from here. Have you considered that?
Yeah. Then the king sends his own son onto the Argo with Jason so that his son can then betray him later. And because all of these people look exactly the same, I did not realize that that was the king's son until the second time I watched it recently.
What I find very funny is Jason himself forgets it, because he clocks on this voyage that that guy who he was talking to was the king, and he knows full well that is his son, and never puts two and two together that he might betray him. He just lets it. He just lets it slide.
Yeah.
Because again, I guess he's so fixated on getting to this golden fleece. But yeah, he has a moment where he's talking to the gods, and she's like, oh yeah, you know that fella you were talking to? He actually was the king, by the way. And he's like, you could have told me that.
Yeah.
But he also knows full well that the king's son is on the ship with him, and just never confronts him. Because the plot doesn't need that.
He's not animated. He doesn't need to confront anything that's not animated.
But yeah, we may as well hit the animation in chronological order.
Mm-hmm.
So we start with Talos. Good God. So obviously about 2 years before this, Sergio Leone had the Colossus of Rhodes, which, if my memory serves me correctly, was a financial success.
Mm-hmm.
Which I assume is why we get the iconic as hell shot of Talos doing the Colossus of Rhodes stance and then picking up their ship and just tossing it back at the water.
Yeah.
Which, I'll just ask you again, another fun fact question. That ship was actually used in another film that came out that year. That exact ship. Do you know what film that was? 1963.
I could not tell you.
Well, funnily enough, we actually covered it last week on the podcast. It's Cleopatra.
No way.
Yeah, they used this ship in Cleopatra. They obviously had shot this a year earlier, although Cleopatra started shooting in the fucking 50s. It was a mess. But eventually, for the big ship battle sequence, one of the ships used was the ship from Jason and the Argonauts.
No way. That's crazy.
Yep.
That's
but yeah, Talos. Talk to me about Talos.
Talos. So Talos, the whole setup for this is the goddess Hera appears to everybody on the ship and tells them no. I can't remember, does she appear to everybody on the ship or does she appear to...
No, she only appears
to Jason this time. Jason asks her, what should we do? We're out of food, we're out of water, which I think honestly betrays some bad planning on his part. She's like, you should go this way. You'll get to this island. When you get to this island, only take food, only take water, take nothing else. Jason turns around to his crew and basically repeats that word for word. Except Hercules has a bit of a creepy moment where he's like, what if there's a woman there? You can't stop me. And it's like, all right, Hercules, chill out.
Steady on now.
Yeah. But Jason, like, Hercules is like, why are you telling us we can't take anything? And Jason's just like, shut up, Hercules, and don't do it. And he just doesn't tell them. He doesn't tell them why. So Hercules and this other kid who has, I think...
Hylas is the other one.
Hylas is the first person, I think, to ever defeat Hercules in something, and he does it using his smarts, not his brawn. So he's now kind of Hercules' sidekick a little bit, and Hercules is like, all right, let's go and see what's up. So they walk through this valley and they see all these beautiful statues that, what's his name? The god of the forge, Hephaestus, has forged and kind of left there. And they get to this mausoleum. Up on top of this mausoleum is this huge bronze statue, like size of a skyscraper. They go inside and there's this treasure trove, and they can't believe what they found. And Hercules picks up a brooch pin, and he's like, "This is going to be the best spear ever." And the door slams shut behind him, like spooky vibes. Hercules then does his like, hypes himself up, manages to push the door back open. They escape out, and then Talos, the huge statue, just turns his head with this crunching groan and just like looks down at them. This dead eyes, and stands up and runs after them. They then, we kind of cut away from those guys for a brief moment, and we get back to Jason and the other guys on the beach, and they're collecting food, and Talos strides out from behind a headland, excuse me, and just starts trying to kill them. And they're like, "Oh my god, where did this guy come from?" And they're fleeing. They get to the boats. They get into the boat and they leave their ladders behind, which is a classic move from these swords and sandals thing. They're fleeing towards this little gap in the bay that they're in. And Talos strides through the water and stands kind of across the gap like the Colossus of Rhodes, reach down, picks up the boat, tips all of the guys out, and then hurls the boat out into the bay, and breaking off the head of Hera, which is the figurehead of the ship and kind of the guardian angel or the guardian god of this voyage. They regroup on the land at the bay, and they get the head, and they ask the head, "Hey, so what can we do here?" And Hera tells Jason, "You got to look to the heel of this monster. Use your brains to fix this." So they formulate a plan. Meanwhile, Hercules and what's the kid's name?
Is it Hyla? I've already forgotten myself. Hylas.
Yeah. Hylas show back up on the beach. And they draw Talos's attention, and they run down the beach, and Jason jumps out from behind a rock, sees a plug in, like a screw plug in Talos's heel, and gets a spear and starts to open it up, managing to critically wound and essentially defeat this monster. But in the last moment, Hylas turns around, sees that Hercules has dropped the spear that he'd taken from the mausoleum, runs back to grab it, and then has a moment where Talos lands on him, killing him in his own death. And nobody sees this happen. Nobody sees Hylas getting killed, and everybody's like, "Where's Hylas?" And yeah, so it's a really incredible sequence. Like the scale that they managed to generate from the shots that they use, and from the way that they integrate Talos into the surroundings, is incredible. The I guess the precision of the animation. I mean, it's really, really hard to animate claymation to look like human flesh. So rooting it in bronze like that gives it just this perfect look that actually works really well. Like the medium plays really well for the character that they're portraying. The sound effects, like I said earlier, just really ground this creature in the real world that all of the other characters are inhabiting. And even though kind of on one level, you know that this thing cannot touch them and cannot hurt them, it just goes out the window. It's such incredible integration between the two media, between like shooting this thing in Italy, and then 6 or 8 months later being able to animate that sequence is just phenomenal. And I can't imagine the planning that must have gone into that in order to make it work. Like knowing exactly what you want to do with that sequence and what you want to do with those characters so far ahead of time, so that Ray can animate those sequences, is just, it's mind-boggling, the detail you have to go into and how precise you have to be.
Yeah, it's a very violent end as well, because Talos like just becomes covered in these cracks as this red fluid is like
Yeah.
gushing out of his ankle, and he's making crazy sound
Oh,
effects. He's holding his throat, and then he just
yeah.
falls apart. Obviously, lands on Hylas and just falls to pieces. It is,
Yeah.
it's probably the most violent thing in the film.
It's certainly up there. Yeah. Like,
It's really memorable. And
yeah.
then, as we kind of touched on, the plot doesn't really matter. They end up
Yeah.
then in this next
Sorry.
scenario.
You just reminded me of something when you were saying that. They actually had to build a lot, I say life size, like a Talos-sized leg and ankle that Jason could open up
Yes.
and actually have that
True.
liquid pouring out
Yeah.
onto the real actor in order to integrate that um with the animation. And if you take the time to like go through, watch the film first, just watch the film, enjoy
Yeah.
it, sit back, popcorn movie, have a great time with it. But if you want to kind of pull back the curtain a little bit and see how the magic is done, you can go through kind of shot by shot and kind of pause it and just look at where the camera is, look at what it's looking at, and kind of see if you can spot the cracks that they're trying to paper over by editing it in a certain way, by constructing it in a certain way. Because like continuity around this area isn't great, but you just don't see it. Like they hide it so well with
Yeah.
the spectacle that they're producing. It's really phenomenal. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
No, of course. So yeah, as I said, plot is secondary here. They end up in the next situation, which is basically there's this blind guy called Phineas, and all they know is they've run out of. One of the rules of this movie is that Jason can only be helped 5 times by the gods. He's already used them all.
Yeah.
So his last one was basically he's told to find Phineas, who is a blind man.
Yeah.
That's the only information he's given. And poor Phineas is a blind man who just every day gets bullied by these 2 gargoyles. It's a daily struggle for this man who, at some point in his life, either forsaken the gods or sinned or whatever, because he does cry out to the gods. He was like, I didn't sin every day, so why is this every day? But yeah,
Honestly,
he just gets bullied by these 2 gargoyles, and yeah, Jason and the lads have to come and help him.
Yeah, like the dialogue around that sequence where he is so frustrated and he does cry out against the gods like that is really great. Like it's probably it's hammy, it's on the nose, but they take it so seriously, and it's so like if Shakespeare was around in ancient Greek, you could say Shakespearean, but it is so just big and broad, but full of emotion and just anger and this, what am I trying to say? This impotent rage that he can't do anything about it. It's really a great bit of dialogue, great bit of acting by that guy. And then Jason and the gang come along, and now that they're not being helped by the gods anymore, they're like, yeah, this might be the gods' plan, but we're just gonna stop them from doing it. You know, we're gonna capture these harpies. We're gonna make sure that they can never do what they're designed to do again. And they leave this guy. He has information. I think he's a seer of some kind.
Yeah,
and
he tells them. He tells them to go to the is it the moving rock? No, the thrashing rocks.
Yes.
And he hands Jason a Poseidon necklace. And again, the Poseidon, we'll get to that, but it's just
phenomenal. I love
it. Class.
But the way that, like, actually, this is maybe one of my criticisms of the film, is this sequence is very, very long for what it is. Like, this sequence doesn't develop in the same way that maybe the Talos sequence or the heartbeat, or the Hydra sequence later on develop. They spend a lot of time with the harpies kind of flying around. It's cool animation, but they're just flying around and they're attacking and they're being fended off until the next thing happens and the plan is put into effect. So I feel like they could, if this sequence was on my desk, I would look for time in this sequence, try and cut it down, try and keep it pacey, keep it moving, and maybe because the Talos sequence is fantastic for the human characters' involvement, but here I feel like were probably a little bit at arm's reach from the characters, a little bit less engaged with the human characters in terms of what's going on.
Yeah.
But still, it's a great sequence. You know, it's
They trap it in a net, then
yeah.
trap it in a net, then trap
Yeah.
them in a cage.
Exactly. It's basically taking the Acropolis in Greece, putting nets on the roof on all sides, luring the harpies in, and then throwing the nets down on top of them.
Mm-hmm.
It's solid plan, but they could have done that a little bit quicker. Look, this is actually, they do something in this sequence which I didn't spot the first time I watched, but rewatching it, they do a camera move in an effects scene, which is not something that is easy to do. And I think all they did was they took a still shot, animated the effects in it, then in post zoomed in and reframed the camera mid-scene.
Yeah.
But still, groundbreaking. Like, that's not something that that even I think Spielberg found difficult on Jurassic Park with computer effects and with the kind of practical effects they did on that. Like, this is really cutting edge stuff we're talking about. So, but the sequence itself is it's a beautiful sequence. The design of the characters is it's no Talos in how chilling they are, but they are very effective in what they do. And in terms of driving the plot along, this guy making a bargain with Jason in order to defy the will of the gods so that he can continue on his journey is really cool.
And yeah, then we get the Poseidon sequence. So they go to these rocks that Phineas has told them to go to, and in the distance they see a ship trying to come through the exact same passage but from the opposite direction, when all of a sudden the cliffs either side basically come alive and just throw themselves at this poor ship. They just decimate the ship.
Mm-hmm.
And Argo kind of turns to Jason and he's like, well, what's the plan, lad? And Jason goes, we're doing it anyway. We're doing it anyway. But funnily enough, Jason says, we don't have the gods on our side anymore, but it doesn't mean anything because, screw the gods. And he takes his Poseidon necklace off and he throws it in the water in frustration. Lo and behold, the gods are still on his side, actually. Because even Zeus above, who maybe in other in other Greek mythology would have struck someone down for doing that, he's just like, this Jason guy's actually a pretty funny character. Let's just see how this one plays out.
Yeah.
Because Poseidon just...
Well, now, whether or not that is Poseidon is debatable, because right around the time of this sequence, we kind of pull back and see the narrative framing device that they use for this film.
Yeah, it's a fair point, yeah.
Which is up on Mount Olympus, and Hera and Zeus are playing chess with the Eastern Mediterranean. They have these boats, they have these characters, they're all moving around, and as Jason is about to be crushed by these rocks, Zeus kind of sits back and goes, haha, well, I guess I win. And then Hera going, not so fast, moves a piece into the path of the boat, which looks like Poseidon, but, I mean, let's not think too deeply about anything that goes on in this film, because it could fall apart. But if you've got a pair of gods playing a game with mortal lives, and they're moving a piece around, which is another god, and that god then comes up and does their bidding, is that character a god? I don't know. Like,
unless Zeus and Hera are just on their weekend off, but Poseidon is still doing his 5 days.
Yeah, look, Poseidon said, okay.
They're on their weekend off. They're playing with all the gods who are still at work.
Yeah.
Besides, he still has to put a shift in until Saturday.
Could be. But anyway, so that bit of like logical tripwire aside, the sequence is phenomenal again, because instead of doing a miniature, well, they do a miniature, but instead of animating the character of Poseidon, they just have a guy. They have a guy in a fishtail pop up out of a tank of water, and the miniature work and the maquette work is all in the valley and the rocks that they're sailing through, and the boat itself is a miniature boat that sails under the arms of this massive creature that is just holding these rocks back.
Yeah.
And in a film where I was so used to watching special effects and knowing that everything that was big is actually a tiny thing that's been animated, seeing something that was actually a regular sized guy being something huge kind of broke my brain a little bit.
It's
in a way,
great
like,
at keeping it fresh.
It really is, but it's a way that this film really does draw you in and makes you engage with it on its own terms. And as soon as you step back, you are surprised in a whole other way. When you
Yeah.
start to figure out it's these things work.
Yeah, so the big fella
Mhm.
obviously helps them through, but as they get through, two kind of key moments in the plot happen.
Mhm.
Moment one is they notice that there's a bunch of people who
Yeah.
survived the ship being caved in by the rocks. They all jump not ashore, they jump aboard to save them, and one of the people they save is a woman by the name of Medea,
Mhm.
who, you know, plonking a little love interest there, but she is actually quite vital to the plot because she
Yeah.
is actually from the city where the golden cloak is,
The
or
Golden
not
Fleece.
cloak,
Yeah.
sorry, the golden fleece. She is from that city, so she can literally take Jason to it. But also, the king's son, he decides now that he's had enough, because we need a third act plot twist, I suppose. He decides now that he's had enough because Jason says, after meeting Medea, you know what? Maybe going to war on these people is maybe a bit harsh. So I'm just gonna sneak up and steal the fleece, and that way
Yeah.
no one gets hurt. And there's a few lads in the boat who are like, "No, you've actually like assembled the greatest army ever,
Yeah.
and we've survived this whole time expecting a fight. So we're gonna fight actually."
Hmm.
And that is led by the king's son. So then the king's
Yeah.
son and Jason get into a sword fight on the ship where Jason bests him. He goes overboard,
Yeah.
and we think that he's fallen to the bottom of the sea.
They
And
send
so,
Dewey because they send in the best swimmer in the world to
true.
capture him, and the swimmer gets stabbed. So he
Yes.
kind of we presume he gets away. Actually, this brings me back to like when Jason is first selecting his crew for the Argo. Zeus and Hera, no, not Zeus and Hera, Hermes kidnaps him, brings him to Mount Olympus. And
Yes.
Zeus and Hera are like, we can give you whatever you want. Do you want a crew? Do you want this? And he's like, no, I don't want a crew. I'm going to invent the Olympics so that I can take all of the people who win and then put them on my crew. And it's like, oh, okay, cool. Imagine though, today, you go to the Olympics and you're like, you take Usain Bolt or you take, whoever's
Raygun.
winning. Yeah, you take not Ray Gun because she didn't win, but like you
Oh yeah,
take the
actually.
winner of the BMX trials to be
Yes.
on your crew. Like, how far would that ship get realistically? So, yeah, look.
Suppose you've got a few sailors there.
You do have a few. This is true, but like this is just how bombastic this movie
Yeah.
is. It's fantastic. But when Jason takes Medea on board, there's this lovely moment where earlier in the film, the Golden Fleece, they're kind of talking about going to get it, and Jason says, "I'm going to go get the Golden Fleece. It's in Colchis," and somebody says, "What? But that's at the end of the world." And then they pick Medea up onto the boat, like after this huge journey. And then Medea's like, "Where are you from?" And he's from. He says, "I'm from Greece. I'm from Thessaly." And it's like, "Oh my god!" But Thessaly's on the edge of the world. And I thought that was just a lovely, cute bit of just a callback to a moment
Yeah,
before,
yeah.
where you just kind of, I don't know, show how far they've come, and just a really grounded way of kind of saying, like, yeah, actually, you've arrived.
So yeah, they get to the edge of the world with Medea, and she kind of downplays how important she is in this society. She's like, "Oh yeah, I'm just like a dancer in the temple," but no, she's actually like the dancer in the temple.
Yeah.
And they do like a big welcome. Jason is quite perplexed as to why he's getting such a lavish arrival, but hey, they're doing a banquet, and then, as I said, that third act plot twist, who emerges from the shadows, but the guy who fell off the boat, the
Yep.
king's son, because he has told them all what Jason's plan is, that they're going to come aboard and they're going to, you know, pillage the place, kill everyone, steal their fleece, and head back to the other side of the world again.
I mean, like, fair enough. Like, that was the plan, right?
Oh, it
like
was.
he's
No
the king's
lies.
son shows up and it's like, hey, he's here to take your priceless
Gift
your
from the
priceless
gods.
thing, the thing that makes your country successful. Like, he's gonna take it. And Jason then, I think, if we're being objective here, is quite fairly captured and put in prison.
Yes.
Like if somebody shows up to Ireland and is going to take, I don't know, the Spire or something, we'd be like, oh, no, we can't take that. And we'd lock them up.
Yeah, I don't know about the Spire. I'd kind of let them have the Spire. But the Book of Kells. The Book of
Book of
Kells.
Kells, yeah.
Stay
No,
away from the Book of Kells.
Somebody tries to steal the Book of Kells.
Yeah, if they said they were going to steal the Spire, I'd just be like, just put something nice there after.
Yeah.
But yeah, Medea obviously takes exception to this. She frees all the lads, all the Argonauts. She frees Jason and she goes, right, Argonauts, you head to the ship, get the ship to point A.
Yeah.
Me and Jason are going to get the fleet. We're going to meet you at point A, and then we're going to end the movie there. And that is the plan, and that is not how things go.
Well,
it's not.
It's not fair.
It's not as straightforward as she thinks it's going to be.
Yeah. So they go to the fleece anyway, and the fleece is this beautiful, golden, shining gift from the gods lying in this sacred tree, but guarding it is a Hydra that Jason has to fight. So I mentioned this sequence earlier, but like the sequence itself is really incredible. Just snake creature, all these thrashing heads and tails and tongues and claws, and it, fighting against Jason, and Jason eventually does kill it. And they take the fleece, but the technical achievement of that of like the handover between the prop handover is just mind-boggling. Like to shoot something like that, to have an actor shoot something on film where he's thrusting a sword into somebody and then letting go, and the sword, I don't know how they must have done that. They must have had somebody standing in exactly the right position to take the sword away from him.
Pretty sure it was like a stab, drop, and then edit the drop out in after the fact. I think there was a lot of dropping involved.
Okay. Because it's incredible how they did it, just so fluidly. Like you would totally miss it if you weren't looking out for it. But yeah, at one point here, the king's son who betrayed Jason is picked up and is thrashing around, and this is the point where he meets his end. But in the meantime, you have the king of Colchis chasing after them with they've discovered that everybody in the palace has been put to sleep, and they're like, oh my god, we need to get to the Golden Fleet. Jason has escaped. So they know exactly where he's going. Run after him, find that the fleece has been stolen, and then chase them up to the cliff top. And this is where kind of the iconic sequence is. Yes. And I got to admit, like, I was waiting for this sequence to happen. Yeah. And kind of not having seen the film in a couple of years, like probably more than a couple, probably about 15 years, was like, when did they do this sequence? There's really not much time left in this film to wrap everything up. But this is, it happens right at the end of the film. The king finds the dead Hydra, tasks a couple of his guys to go and take the Hydra's teeth, and then brings the teeth up to the top of the mountain and does this great speech about the children of the Hydra's teeth. And then again, maybe a little bit too much time spent on the skeletons rising out of the ground, because there's like 12 of them and they all get an entrance, and at a certain point you get it, you understand that these things are coming, but then when they get into the meat of the fight, it's just phenomenal. Like the integration of these skeletons into the background is really flawless. You've got skeletons jumping over people jumping over skeletons, like proper.
The one I just can't get over is where he sticks the sword through the skeleton's ribs, and it goes literally through its ribs, and again he lets go of the sword to like admire his handiwork. It is that one mind-boggling.
It's really phenomenal, and just super casual stuff, like a skeleton getting ready to fight somebody, just handing a sword back and forward between its own hands, but just really natural movement.
They do that with Talos as well. Talos, I think, on 2 different occasions switches sword hands, which is just it's so class.
Yeah, and it's this little casual thing that you don't even question, but just really showcases a master at work. Yeah. But yeah, you just have this incredible fight, and like most of the Argonauts die, or most of the people fighting the skeletons die in this battle, but Jason and Medea make it out, and it's like the ending is so simple that they run to the edge of the cliff and they see the Argo there and they jump off, And then you cut to this wide shot of these people falling from the edge of the cliff, and all of these bones like of the skeletons falling after them. And then again, you're kind of taking yourself out of the film, going like, you just had some people jumping off a cliff and then somebody eating a basket of bones at you.
So
but
good.
But like the way this comes together is just really phenomenal. Again, like it's the spectacle is incredible, but the narrative, I guess the story is kind of where it falls apart a little bit in terms that like all they had to do was jump off the side of the cliff and they would be fine. And you kind of realize, oh, everybody who died in this fight, as impressive as it was, they could have just jumped and they might have made it. And maybe it's at this point you kind of start to realize why this thing didn't get a sequel as well, is because as impressive as it was, people aren't going to pay to see the same spectacle again without the characters that they want to follow to draw them in. Like they say they do. They say they want bigger. They say they want more spectacle, but you do need those characters to bring you along for the ride. So Jason and Medea jump off the cliff. They make it onto the deck of the Argo and they kiss and cut to black.
Yeah, worth noting as well that they do use the golden fleece once because Medea takes an arrow to the back. So they throw the golden fleece on her. She's grand. Get up.
Yeah, totally
onto the Argo.
Yeah, and look, it is a bit of plot armor, as you said, but you can't fault him. You know,
you also want to see it get used at some point.
100%, absolutely. You can't go through this entire journey without understanding what it is that you're going for. But yeah, like in terms of, and then I think we have the framing device of the gods on Mount Olympus again, kind of packing away the game board and kind of saying, well, I guess I win for now, my lord, says Hera, and that's basically the end of the movie. Yeah,
so Jason the Argonauts, I absolutely loved this. Thought this was great fun. Obviously, we came for the effects and we stayed for the effects.
Yeah.
The effects are great. Shout out, of course, to Bernard Herrmann, who did the score. He's done score on so many movies that we've covered on this podcast. It's always worth noting Bernard Herrmann when he rocks up. I know he did borrow a lot of stuff he'd already done before, like from Vertigo, North by Northwest for this, but like, can't fault you, mate. It's still a good score. Like if your work's that good, why not just take little passages again? But yeah, it's a lot of fun. Jason, the guy who plays Jason, does get dubbed over the whole film.
He does. I was gonna say that. Like,
God bless him.
A shout out to Tim Turner and Eva Haddon, who provided the dubbing for Jason and Medea.
Yeah,
because they were both American actors in a British movie, and apparently their American accents sounded so out of place that it was ridiculous.
Yeah, to be fair, the dubbing works really good.
It's very good. Like I kind of see it a little bit in Medea's performance.
There's moments where Jason's kind of in peril and he's like shouting, and that's kind of the only moments where I was like, But like any of his like just kind of casual spoken dialogue is pretty much A1.
Completely. And I kind of presumed when I was watching it, when I saw those, I thought, oh yeah, it's just ADR, they're filming outside, it's effects work, like they're going to have to re-record this dialogue anyway. But the fact that they did it with a second actor is just really, really solid. I mean, it gives a bit of a bad beat to Todd Armstrong, but I don't think he was
he didn't really have much of a career after this. I think he has like 12 credits in his entire career as an actor, and a couple of them came after this.
This is certainly the biggest thing he ever did.
Oh god, yeah.
Let's see, where is it? Yeah, so this was like I'm just looking at his Wikipedia article now. I can't claim to have any kind of knowledge about this guy, I'm afraid. But yeah, there's probably like 10 films there, and then about the same amount in TV. And his last film was in 1967.
Yes, 4 years later. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and he had a kind of a tragic young death as well. He was only 55 when he passed away, but that was in 1992. So there was a good 15 years there. No, more than that. What's 92 minus 67? 20 something years where he wasn't really doing anything as an actor. So, yeah, kind of. But his performance was solid. He looks great in the part, and It was far from the weakest thing in that film.
Oh, definitely. So yeah, for the letterboxed people who listen, which is most of you, I did give this 4 stars. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I don't know. Are you a letterbox man, Richie?
I'm not. I actually don't do any kind of social media. I'm a Luddite in that respect. But yeah, this is absolutely a 4-star movie. It's it is what it is unapologetically, and it does it so well. It does it better than any other film has ever done this kind of claymation stop motion effects work. So yeah, it's if you're in any way interested in special effects and animation, in kind of where the Odyssey got its roots, I think you owe it to yourself to watch this film.
Right, before we wrap things up, we do have a little segment on the podcast that I'm going to do with you because I fancy your chances, to be honest.
Oh no!
It's called Guess the Top 10. It's not necessarily a top 10 in this case. I'm going to ask you to name 10 films.
No.
We are not robbing this from Tenable, but you have three wrong answers that you can give, and you can ask for a hint at any point if you would like. You get one hint. That being said, I'm quite confident here. Richie, my question for you this week is I want you to name any 10 films where Ray Harryhausen is credited as the visual effects artist.
Oh, I probably only have 3 certain ones in this. The Seventh Voyage of Sinbad.
Yep.
There is Clash of the Titans.
Yep.
There is Jason the Argonauts, obviously.
Yep.
And then there's probably stuff where he was still cutting his teeth. There's probably some. Is there any King Kong movies in there?
There is a movie that is very inspired by King Kong. I think you know what
Joe Young?
it is. Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Mighty Joe Young. That's 4.
Yeah, I really don't know. I'm afraid
this is very. It's a very 50s coded list.
Yeah,
a lot of 50s on here.
This is not. I really can't pick any other names out. I'm afraid this is not my proudest moment.
So we have. I don't know if you've seen The Beast from 20,000 Fathoms.
No, can't say that I have.
One of the most. Also directed by Don Chaffee, one of the most famous posters in cinema history.
Oh, is it going to be like The Thing or something, or The Beast, one of the Swamp Man movies, or
1 million years BC with Raquel Welch.
Okay.
You've got obviously the 2 Sinbad sequels.
Okay.
20 Million Miles to Earth, which I have.
So Golden Voyage of Sinbad and something else. Is Golden Voyage of Sinbad?
Yeah. So you have 5 there.
So I have 5. So, and then, what's the other Sinbad sequel? Sinbad and the Eye of the Tiger?
Is correct. That's 6. I'll give you a clue. There's a very, very famous 1956 sci-fi film.
56 sci-fi film?
Yeah. It's...
No, is it gonna be like Swiss Space Family Robinson or something like that, or Lost in Space? No.
Earth versus the Flying Saucers.
No, afraid not.
It's good fun.
My knowledge of
good fun.
Of 50s B movies is not great, I'm afraid.
Yeah, it's kind of one of my trivia, one of my specialist subjects. You've got It Came from Beneath the Sea.
Mm-hmm. Sounds like one he'd work on, alright.
Yeah, one that I haven't seen or heard of is The Valley of Gwangi.
No idea.
Late 60s dinosaur movie. And it's got the guy that played Argos in it, but that's about the most I have on that one. You've got Mysterious Island. You've got The First Men in the Moon. Not on.
Nope. They came before.
And then you've got 3 Worlds of Gulliver.
Gulliver. Oh wow. That's
again
very cute.
Cannot say that I'd ever heard of the 3 Worlds of Gulliver. I once got one in one of the Guess the Top 10s.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I also did not do very well on Friday, if my memory serves correctly. I think because I'm trying to do the maths as to which episodes came out when. Pretty sure on Friday I only got like 3 in Guess the Top 10. But last week I did get a 10. Last week I did get a 10.
Well,
so
fair play. What was the topic you got? 10?
I got 10 in, and it's one of the easier subjects, to be fair, is just the 10 60s Best Picture winners.
Okay. That's one I probably would get maybe 3 out of that, if I'm honest.
60s is like the 80s. It's a weird old decade for the Oscars. They just went so rogue on so many occasions.
Wow.
They just pick some random ass stuff, which is why it kind of stands out to me as a decade for Best Picture winners. Because it's like Tom Jones won Best Picture.
Wow.
Yeah. I would say that was unusual. But yeah, that was the episode of the Golden Hour Film Podcast where we covered Jason and the Argonauts. Next week is The Wizard of Oz. Again, cannot believe that it's taken us this long to cover The Wizard of Oz, but hey, there you go. Thank you so much, Richie.
Absolute pleasure. Great to be here. Thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, of course. As you said, you're not really a social media man. I don't know if there's anything you want to plug.
Really, no. I try and I stay out of all of that. It's
you're on Wikipedia.
I am. I'll have to check that out. So if anybody wants to hop on my Wikipedia and check that out, go for it. Edit away to your heart's content. But really, no. I am very much staying out of all of that. I gave it up about 10 years ago, and honestly, the best thing I ever did. So, yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. We will definitely be having you on again at some stage.
Can't wait.
Yeah, next month is musical month. And don't forget, of course, from next month, the podcast stays on Sundays. Sundays, 6 p.m. GMT. Thank you very much. I've been Harry Bailey.
I've been Richie Cody. I'll say that again. I've been Richie Cody.
And we'll see you all very soon for the Golden Hour Film Podcast. Goodbye.